close till I get up. Time is barely on our side. I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on we'll go. Finding life along the way, melodies we haven't played. No, I don't want no rest. Echoing around these walls, fighting to create a song. I don't wanna miss a beat. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll go, through the wastelands, through the highways, and on.
Good afternoon. It is the Roommates Podcast. Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. Was I early on that? Did it still come through? Should.
Yeah, I still hear music.
No, I know that. What'd you stop it for?
Oh, I don't know.
I'm using a fader here, and you're ruining everything.
I don't
You've
know.
already ruined your performance.
Do not ruin mine.
Should I turn it back on?
No, it's already screwed. We had the music on a fader, and Dave just literally just stopped.
Well,
the
I
music
saw
right
you.
that.
I saw you slide your hand down, and I still heard music. I was like, "Do I need to stop this?
No.
Like, is it just playing for us?"
No, I was no,
Because
not
then
at
I'm
all.
going to just be screaming in the microphone because there's
No,
music.
I was.
Oh,
trust me,
man.
I'm a professional. I can pull that down.
We're off to
and get
a,
it just where it needs to
a
go.
smooth
Yes.
ride today.
So not to mention that are we live on a Sunday instead of a Monday, and we'll get into reasons for that. But we are late going live because we had a lot of issues, and it just was board stuff. We're just still learning the equipment, and it was a USB return issue. So regardless, it's fixed, and we're live.
Yes.
And welcome everybody. It's August 16th or 18th actually.
Yep.
Tomorrow's the 19th, so 18th of 2019. Man, we've had a little bit of a week so far, in good ways.
Yep.
Yep. Dave was like, before we went live,
dreading everything
he's dreading
today.
this podcast today.
Dave's the only person I know who wants to be famous, but wants nobody to know who he is at the same time. So this is gonna be fun.
I like my privacy.
You like your privacy, but regardless, this is the podcast, and when we go out and we talk when we're not on the air, we always go, "Oh, can we talk about this on the podcast?" And I was like, "Dave, you mind if we talk about this on the podcast?" He's like, "I would rather us never talk about anything on the podcast." I was like, "Well, this is going on the podcast, just so you know."
Well, and it's one of those things. You guys will be like, "Let's talk about this." It's like, well, I already don't want to say, well, let's vote on it because you both want to talk about it.
Yes,
so
you're not wrong.
It's happening no matter what.
You're not wrong at all.
What do you want? You just want to talk about video games, and then that will be it.
I mean,
That's it. And he shows up for the gaming news.
what's wrong with that?
He doesn't want to get to the personal issues. And we had a huge roommate debacle. Since this is roommates and we all three live together, we confronted Dave the other night. We were out having some drinks.
First of all, let me say, before we confronted Dave, I spent 3 days in the most passive-aggressive state
Oh, yeah.
I have ever been in my entire life.
Oh, yeah.
So we've lived together so long that I try to not confront Dave in a way that I'll explode or be emotional. So my way around that is to just pretend Dave doesn't exist for however long I'm mad. which is what I did.
Yep.
Which led to us finally going out for drinks after 3 days of the silent treatment.
Yes, Dave got the silent treatment, and I think with the breaking, what broke the camel's back, the straw that did, was Dave came out and goes, can you cut my hair today? And you're just like, you just looked at it and you just looked forward again. And then eventually you're just like, no, I'm not cutting your hair today. Get the hell out of my face. It was just a matter of us, we have, it's a roller coaster living as a married couple with Dave living in a house that's not a married couple. And those kind of things where it's the living situation. And a lot of people go, why do you do that? And we have some of our friends always say that. They're like, why does Dave, why does he staying with you and all stuff? It's like, we have a good thing going. And it's...
The thing is, Dave lived with... Well, you lived with Dave.
I lived with Dave.
You guys were roommates.
In 2014.
And then when we got together, we've all lived together, and we actually do really well together. I think for as well as people who live together can do. I think we get along amazing.
Yeah.
But I lost my train of thought.
I can tell you that what happened was Dave started secluding himself from the household, and you've lived here for a year, a little over a year now.
Year and a half.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Dave used to have like a out of the house job, and now we all three, and so did I. So none of us saw each other near as much as we have in the last year and a half since we moved to Florida, and we all work together and live together. It is a lot of time that we spend together, like a lot. So that is what has changed in our dynamic. We've all three always lived together. We do it well, I think. But now we are all together a lot.
A lot, yeah. And we'll have those things creep in. We're like the little small annoyances. But it was more like, I've done this too, where, we work from home. We work behind a computer all the time. And I've spent so much time behind the computer and not enjoying life or the household in a sense. But Dave has been like he's like Puerto Rico. He's in his own little corner in the back side of the house. And we were like, dude, just be part of this household. Like, you want to put a Mario poster up in the living room? Like, you live here.
Well,
it's been a year and a half.
That's what Dave took from that entire conversation. I remember like going on forever about like, I just want you to be a part of the house. Like, you hide, and then when you come out, you're just like, the dogs did this or whatever. So I feel like you're just... It's all this negative feeling. I just dumped my feelings out to him. I'm like, I just want you to be a part of the house and like stop making it seem like you just live in a room here and when you come out. And so he's like, we get done with this big long talk and he's like, all right, I'm going to put a poster up in the living room. I'm like, God damn, great.
Well, this all stemmed because we're moving to Tampa next year, early next year around January. And we got us thinking, like, do you want to live here? Is this fun? Is this a good? Oh my God, these fucking gnats! We've been dealing with gnats, a problem like you wouldn't believe. And thanks to when our AC was down as long as it just was a breeding ground for gnats for some reason, because that's just how it happens. But the whole issue was that, and we got over it. We talked it over and. We moved forward from it, but we were just like, we're moving to Tampa. Do you want to be part of the household, or do you want to move back to St. Louis? What are you feeling? Because
I think I would feel like there are times when I get to the point where I'm like, I don't want Dave living here anymore. I hate you. I want you to disappear. But then I know that usually those are just times when we all need to sit down and talk. And that's why we're great roommates, because when we get to those points, we always sit down and like powwow it out together. Like we do. We genuinely care and we sit down and talk it out. And I'm like, it would be sad to not have Dave around. Like,
yeah, I mean, we
it would
moved
feel
down and we
very
have nobody.
weird.
Yeah, I mean, we have some friends down here, but I mean, like when it comes to somebody's living with you,
we're codependent with Dave.
Very
we need Dave
codependent
around.
Not to mention, I mean, when we go on vacations or something, and Dave ends up getting a vacation himself, like we do get time away from each other, but still, But that happened, and we moved forward, and things are going fantastic.
Dave got his haircut finally.
Dave got his haircut finally. As you can see, it just happened actually a little bit ago. I was watching Live PD, and
that was my peace offering. I was like, here, I'll cut your hair.
Cut your hair before we get live.
I was just like, I'm just not going to ask. Eventually it'll get so bad Nicole will either offer or I'm just going to look like a caveman. So
that too. And we did have some people that were asking or have been making comments about Dave's face, about it being red.
Yep.
And he's started Curology.
Yeah, I now have a skincare routine. So
Yay.
it's getting better. And I don't think my skin was anywhere near this bad until we got to Florida. I think Florida messed it up.
Oh,
It definitely,
dude, yeah.
I'm sure it did. The same thing happened to me. I never had a skin problem until we moved here. And I remember that first month, my skin was like, I had red bumps everywhere.
It's the water.
I think it's the water and just the air, the atmosphere here. Like it's different.
It's trying to kill me.
Yeah.
I've got like a skin irritation starting to happen over here on the left of my eye, and it's
Yeah, we had to start getting a steroid.
start
cream
putting a
for
steroid. It's like great.
Florida is not. Yeah,
It's
not
not
good
nice for your skin. Not at all. Let alone the sun hitting it all the time. But yeah, like the water when you were in the shower and stuff like that. It's no good. One thing I did want to bring up is, besides this gnat situation, these gnats have just taken over.
I have cups everywhere of sugar water with dish
Yes.
soap in it, like just in every room trying to catch these gnats.
So I have a theory on why it got so bad, and it had to do when I was setting up the equipment. I noticed that there was like a pollen dust on some of the cameras. We had every window open for days, so
Yeah.
I think they just flooded in. And
Well, they breed it. They had to do their breeding.
Yeah.
But they did their breeding upstairs when we had no AC for so long. I was like 100 degrees up there.
Every surface upstairs, because it was so hot and humid. Yeah, it was moist. It was like you could touch the walls, and they were like sticky and wet almost. Like the walls were sweat. The floors were sweating. You guys saw that? Like the floors were
that was
sweating.
crazy.
the tile floor was sweating.
That was nuts. So yeah, it was very moist in the house. So
Yeah, it's pretty moist. But did you almost get him? Almost.
no.
So one thing I want to talk about was something myself and Dave, we just made a stupid fun video. I was like, I'm gonna play this game. I know it's terrible. We're just gonna have fun with it. And we ended up getting pretty negative comments on it about us endorsing a game and stuff like that. And one thing I want to talk about was, why are we ambassadors for every game we play? If I'm endorsing a game, it will be sponsored, usually in the title, or it'll be in the description. I'll say it's titled, or it's sponsored, and that I endorse a product. I'll say I really like this and things like that. We never said anything like that about this New Life game. We know the history behind it. Dave has played it a few times on his channel, and it's kind of ridiculous that like content creators are held against, like everything that any game they play is like, you made me buy this game. It's a piece of shit. It's like, no, I didn't. I didn't tell you to go buy it. I just played it.
Yeah. Also, I want to talk about, because a lot of that negative comments we were getting, I'm noticing a trend. People are throwing around the term, this is an asset flip. It's a scam. And there's a few YouTube channels that they do go around looking at these games. They call them out as asset flipping and all this other stuff. But a lot of people don't know what asset flipping is. And that bothers me, because like it looked like it could be an asset flip, but at the same time, typically an asset flip is they buy a bunch of assets, they throw it together, and they sell it, and you never hear from them again. It's done. It happens in mobile gaming all the time.
Yeah.
For PC and console games, it almost never happens. And now this term's coming around because people are like, wait, these two games have the same assets. They bought them. It's an asset flip. Games have bought assets all the time. Games that have sold millions of copies have bought assets. People don't realize that because they're not paying attention. They're not going to asset stores and seeing what they can buy.
Right.
So now that a handful of Unreal assets that were used in Identity are now in New Life, they showed up in the Raw trailer. Everyone, as soon as people see those, they just start screaming, "Oh, it's an asset flip! Scam!" And
somebody could do a great thing
it might
with
not be.
assets. Yeah, we don't know.
Yeah,
but
and
you dug into it a little bit more, and you found out more about the company.
I did, and it was not good. So the company is. I got this number from someone in their Discord, so I don't know how true it is. They said it was on Steam. I forget where. They said it's two guys, which to me that sounds right. It's possibly two people developing this game. What's not good is their track record. on their website and Game Jolt and all the pages they're on, there's no history on them. It looks like New Life is their first game. Did a little digging because people were throwing out another name. Was Into the Deep, I think is what it was.
Yeah.
Was the game they did before this. It came out in 2017, and it's not a good story. It was they went to early access. They sold demos or something. They got some features in and then just abandoned it.
Yeah.
So
that's not good. But
no,
we never played that game for any other reason than to just like goof on the physics and be stupid.
We knew it was garbage.
Yeah, it's like it's going to be a short video. We're just going to like literally play the game. But I think maybe it's my delivery. Like whenever I first start playing a game, I'm like, hey, we're in New Life. I say what game we're playing. I'm not like, hey, welcome to this big piling piece of shit. Let's see how fucked up this game is.
Yeah, but the thing, there are channels that, I mean, that is their content. They find these and they go to early access games. They dive into it and they're like, we're going to find out if this is a legitimate game being made or is it an asset flip.
But they're pushing for content on their channel, so they're going to look for anything. And if they make a negative connotation about it, then that's what their channel's known for. That's what they want.
Yeah, and the thing with New Life is when I played the closed alpha, I was fully on board. I'm like, this it smells like a scam. It looks like a scam. I think it's a scam. And I, like 2-3 weeks ago on here, I said, I don't think it will ever come out. It came out.
It came out.
Although
it has one update.
What's on Steam is not the closed alpha in almost any way possible. It's literally a different map and everything.
Right.
So that was a red flag for me on what it is. But like you said, they actually put an update out the first day. So if it's an asset flip, why would they update it?
Exactly. They would just pop it on there and leave.
Time will tell. If they update the game, it's not an asset flip. And even Identity. A lot of people are hating on Identity, saying that's an asset flip. They are developing Identity. It's getting updates.
Yeah, they're making a game.
Like, people don't understand what early access is.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even successful games, Subnautica took 2 years in early access.
Yeah. I mean, it was a hell of a game when it was in early access. There was a lot there.
Yeah, that's true.
And that's the difference is that, you have a studio that's working on a game rather than just two guys or one dude. Like, when we play Flashing Lights, that's just one guy that makes that game.
Yeah.
So I think, a lot of it stems from people not understanding what early access is.
And didn't you say, Dave, they're now Steam is changing their policy on how often you can change the release date of a game?
Yes.
Yes.
I'm trying to pull that information up right now.
Which I think is really good. I mean, some of it has gotten a little out of control. When you pay for a game and you're waiting and then you go, okay, it's coming out that's happened. What Cooking Sim was the last game. I was like, I'm playing this today. And then it just wasn't there. Bumped it back. And it just kept happening.
And that's what's really cool about having, like, I do content creation with games, and that's like a total different thing. And for you, it's more or less, you actually play games still to the level of like not making content out of it. So you balance that out. You go, yeah, this is bullshit, or this is, whatever is going on in the gaming community. Because sometimes, I get jaded about it because as a content creator, you're just like, you play at so many games.
Yeah. So here I got the actual information up. So it said it was confirmed from a Valve spokesperson that the platform now is you now have to notify the platform when you want to issue an update, when you want to issue a release date change, and it has to be approved by Valve. You can't just go in and change it whenever you want. They also are going to start emailing developers out 2 weeks before the date to make sure that they are on the release schedule. And they said this change was made in order to help guide developers to guide developers that either intentionally or unintentionally change the release dates multiple times, causing their games to show up in certain lists in a way that was confusing to players and frustrating to other developers. So that is some of these games that enter early access. They keep changing the date, so their stuff keeps getting pushed to the up and coming, to the new stuff.
Right.
And they do that for 2 years. Or Police Simulator did that for, 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, it was like 2016, I want to say. 2017, 2016. I think it was 16 whenever they first started, like, branding themselves is what they were doing with Police Simulator. But yeah, I mean, that's something that happens. And I think people learned the term asset flip, and now it's just like the word cringy. Remember, cringe was like a thing that everybody was just saying for the longest time a couple of years ago, and didn't even really understand what cringe was. There's like, cringe, this is cringy. And I think we're seeing that now with every single game that hits early access. It's just getting thrown under the category asset flip, blah, 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 blah. And they don't know anything about it.
Yep.
So one thing that's new and exciting, we're talking about content creators, is YouTube's new policy on music. Big labels can't take over your revenue anymore. They can come in and either can demonetize you and or just remove the video completely, right?
Yes. So the options are that they no longer split revenue. It's they can decide if the video gets monetized at all, or they can issue a takedown request.
I think that's pretty noble of them.
Yeah, I think it's smart. It gives those big like music companies less of an incentive to go searching for videos to take down because they're not going to be. It's not going to be a cash grab for them.
They have entire teams dedicated to that right now.
Yeah. So hopefully that removes the incentive a little bit, so these small channels aren't being attacked for stupid copyrights because there's a tiny. It's gotten out of hand. That's why they had to push that. I mean, you'll have like a tiny clip that sounds something, or
I had sirens and like legitimate like sirens in LSPDFR, and I would get copyright hits on it.
NWA, they were like, "You're stealing our tags."
We own that, man. I don't think so.
So they said in an official tweet from YouTube. Said the policy preventing copyright owners from making manual claims for short song clips, example 5 seconds of a song.
Right.
So they can't claim that anymore. So and then they also said unintentional audio, an example was a passing car. So you're out doing a vlog and a car drives by and a song plays for 3 seconds and they come in and just take your money. Like, they're not going to allow that anymore.
That's good.
Amazing.
I got to give it up for YouTube on that one for sure. But Nintendo, on the other hand, instead of taking 50% of your stuff, now they're shutting channels completely down.
So with that, they're shutting down dedicated music channels. And there were several that literally disappeared overnight. And these were channels where it wasn't like they had Nintendo music in their videos. These were dedicated song videos where it would be like entire soundtracks. So like, here's the Donkey Kong Country soundtrack. Right. Here's the Mario Odyssey soundtrack. And people could just listen to the entire soundtrack in one big video.
And they would make way more money than any of the guys that made that music.
Yeah. And Nintendo like hit all of them overnight. And someone pointed out that the hours the claims came in lines up with business hours in Tokyo. So Nintendo manually did this to a bunch of channels.
Wow.
And I didn't have a problem with it because these are dedicated music channels. They're not providing content. They are literally taking the soundtracks and doing it. But some people are mad because these soundtracks, they're not on streaming services. You cannot listen to them anyway else.
Unless Nintendo wants to just start releasing their music as a soundtrack.
Well, and that's what people are saying. They're like, Nintendo, like, you have the right to do this, but provide it to us.
Yeah.
Throw it on Spotify. You'll make money. We get to listen to the music we like.
Right.
And it's like old, digital music.
Yeah.
8-bit music.
Give the people what they want.
I mean, have you heard the Donkey Kong Country soundtrack?
Yes, it's great.
It's amazing.
We have to be careful. We want to get Nintendo, please don't listen to diddly doo.
We get 5 seconds.
Doodly doo.
Oh, yeah, we get 5. Get it out of here. That's all I had.
Is that Banjo-Kazooie?
No, that was Donkey Kong Country 2.
Oh, I can't even.
It's
Do 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 do.
Okay, stop too much.
We got our 5 seconds out.
Oh God.
Big news, not big news at all, but news. The beginning of October, OCRP has opened up their applications.
Yeah, we did. We had a little OCRP powwow the other night because
we've had a lot of powwows.
Yes,
a lot of powwows.
Well, you
in the last
guys
few
graciously accepted me back as an admin. Thank you.
She's like,
so I'll be what I was doing before, doing the interview process, and we decided every quarterly, basically every 3 months, we'll open it for 2 days. So
it'll be October 1st and 2nd only, 2 days. And we decided to do 21 and up. And there's a lot of reasons for that. Yep. We originally was 18 and up. We had some people that were borderline, probably lying about their ages, and you could tell. And we had people that or just they weren't the caliber of what we want to do. And OCRP is all about adults role playing with adults. So we're an adult community 100%. And when we moved over to the 21 policy, all the applicants that we were getting that were over 21 were just like staying and were great. And everybody was like very happy with them joining OCRP. So I understand that's going to piss off, people that are younger. There's tons of RP communities out there. And
thousands.
we're thousands. And we're not trying to be anything massive. We're just legitimately a adult community. And the only way we can try to police that is to say, 21 and up. And yep. I don't think it's ridiculous. We tried the 18 and up thing, and people just, it's not. The maturity level there can be there, but it's usually not, unfortunately.
Well, and like you said, all of us agreed to that from the beginning. The idea with, oh my God, this gnat.
I know, they're just killing us.
But in the beginning, it was, we didn't care how big the community was. We'd prefer a smaller community with the type of people we want to role play with, which is just mature adults. Like, we're all older. Like, a lot of communities, have people that are younger running
yes.
them, and there's nothing wrong with that. But when you're, you're 36 now.
36.
Like, what kind of level is there? Like, you wouldn't hang out with a 16-year-old in real life and do stuff
you don't want to role play
it's
with a
weird.
16-year-old?
No.
Someone 20 years with less life experience than you?
Less life experience, and then
it's weird.
arguing the law with you and stuff. It's like, I wouldn't have engage in a conversation with them and have a meaningful conversation with somebody of that age currently. I don't think so. It rarely ever happens. I've been to like PAX, and I've been to like the when we do the Flight Sim Con stuff or the Flight Sim Expo, that stuff. Like I meet a lot of younger people, and they're very cerebral. They're into flight simulation, and you can have a stimulating conversation with. I've had a stimulating conversation with like a 12-year-old about flight sim before, and you don't get that kind of stuff unless it's very, very, very rare.
Yeah.
For the most
Well,
part.
and I mean, I didn't have a problem with it because it's one of those things where it's like a lot of times we role play like we're drunk, we're doing all this stuff, and it's like in the U.S., which most of our user base is American.
Yeah.
Like, you got to be 21 to legally drink, and it's like there's stuff that because we're doing heavier adult themes and topics. Like, when you have someone younger, like where do they even get what do they even know about that other than what they've seen in Hollywood?
Right. And that's usually what happens. And doing this RP as long as I've done it, like anytime that I've rolled up and RP'd a situation with a younger person like that, they don't know. Well, and the worst is if it's a cop. they try to be like, I pulled you over because you're doing 1 mile per hour over.
Well, the other thing is all the other communities out there do allow younger people, so there's a lot of opportunity for them to get experience and to do role play. There wasn't a lot of opportunity. I remember when we started up, that was one of the biggest complaints from people during interviews. They were like, I just don't want to play with kids. Like, I want to role play, and I want to role play with adults. And we were like, same. Let's make that happen. So there's so much opportunity for younger people and teenagers to play. There wasn't really an opportunity for adults to get together and have that connection. So, yeah, I don't feel bad. I still like you said, we have nothing against younger people, and I love that they're interested in this type of stuff. But that doesn't mean that we have to. You're not going to make everybody happy no matter what you do anyway.
No, not at all. But regardless, just to let you guys know, October 1st and 2nd, there'll be applications open up for just those 2 days.
And then again in 3 months. And then 3 months after that.
Yep. That's the plan to move forward. So after that, you can expect the next 3 months. So everybody gets in there and everything, because it's a lot. We're going to get a lot of applicants, and you have to go through that whole process. But I think a lot of people will be happy about it that have been waiting, for sure. For sure, man. I did want to touch on some NASCAR topics. I know Dave's not huge into NASCAR. You like it.
I like it. I just don't follow it as closely as you.
Yeah. And Nicole's the same way. But some things happened. They were at Bristol this past weekend, which is really crazy. Was that Dale Earnhardt Jr. was on a private plane with his wife and baby, And I think there was a dog on there. I saw a dog running around. I'm not sure if that was part of the plane or not. But they had a crash when they landed. FAA hasn't released anything yet. I've been looking. But it looked like it was maybe like brake failure or something. It's a very short runway. Went off in like, it looked like a crash. When you see the pictures of it, you go, wow, how did anyone survive that?
Yeah, it looked horrific.
And they all lived. That is so crazy.
That could have been so devastatingly bad.
Oh, yeah. That would have been horrible. Yeah. So that happened. And then, so some weird things happened. It was like, it was a full moon, actually, the night that Miss Natalie Decker got turned by a tow truck. I went through, and this has been kind of growing and growing. There's an audio clip, and we do have the clip, right?
Yes, we have the clip.
With the audio clip of her spotter that was clearing her, and then she wrecked, and then some people think he quit. Certainly sounds like he quit, but I'll let the audio do its thing, because
inside, we're wrecked. Bring it to road. I don't know how the fuck I call inside the whole way down the backstretch. We still drive to the bottom of the corner, getting into 3.
And she sounds so terrified.
Listen to spotter. If you came down when you're supposed to off at 2, this never would have happened.
Maybe just a little tight right in the center. The toe seems like it's back to normal. They're pretty close.
Well, I'm sure it's a little tight now when you knock the side of the truck off. Start learning how to listen to your spotter. That's a 02 aft pack. Let's put her into the inside wall. Fire it up if you can here. Take it to the garage. Turn left. Take it to the garage.
And this is where the tow truck spins her out.
Oh my god, it fucking stopped!
Down here.
Stop! Take me back to the fucking garage, not 80 miles an hour.
I'm completely fucking lost right now. Like, I don't even know why I'm up here. He's out. I'm taking my shit off. See you guys later.
Oh my god.
So that was the spotter, and we'll show you the
my
clip
God.
of what happened. She got spun out, and this has never happened before. They were talking about in NASCAR. They go, no one's ever been spun out by the. Whoa, hello.
oh.
I got you.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Damn.
You can just mute it. Just show the video if you can.
I'm going to.
Okay. We're having. Well, this is the first time we've ever shown clips.
Yeah.
That's never happened. Yeah, here it is.
I didn't see this.
I think she wanted to turn on the pit road, and the record driver didn't realize that, and she was trying to hit the brakes, and he was on the gas.
And they show the full moon because they're like, "Yep, oh boy."
I love that.
Yeah.
Oh my
So some
God.
weird things were happening at Bristol, and last night we watched a race, the NASCAR, the Monster Energy Cup Series, and Matt DiBenedetto is like one of the number one drivers, is like one of the people's driver. He's like a fan favorite. He's in a smaller team. They have really not great equipment, and he was leading the race to win. And he had just gotten news that he doesn't have a ride next year. So I mean, the dude was driving his heart out.
Yeah, he about drove that car to pieces.
It was crazy. And Newman would not move out of his way and ended up hitting the left front and damaged the car a little bit, which ended up hurting him. And Denny Hamlin was able to run him down and win the race in the last like 9-10 laps.
Yeah.
Which was a huge upset. It was horrible. Like I haven't felt so bad for somebody in so long, but like it was just, oh my God, devastating. And Matt DiBenedetto is a driver that like everybody knew him through Reddit because he drove the Dogecoin car when they were doing Dogecoin.
Oh yeah.
And they pooled all the money together and they ended up sponsoring a car. He was the driver of that. So that was like one of the biggest upsets in NASCAR I think I've ever seen.
But when you see Denny, like when he got out of his car and the very first thing out of his mouth was, "Man, I'm so sorry to Matt." That's just, I was like,
yeah.
Fuck, like that sucks. But he did what he had to do. It's his job to race as hard as he can. He won, but I thought it was moving. As soon as he got out, he was just like, "Man, I'm so sorry to Matt." Like that sucks.
Yeah, and he had to do what he had to do. He's a race car driver, and he's trying to, make his team happy. They can't just lay down. I know a lot of fans are upset, and they're just like, you should have just let him win. It's like, that's not what every single drive. There's a reason why Ryan Newman didn't move out of the way. It was like, I'm not going down a lap. Screw you. He's doing everything he can, and it was unfortunate. That would have been probably one of the greatest NASCAR stories in a very long time. And it became one of the biggest upsets in a long time. So weird things happened in Bristol. Let's move over to Dave's gaming news.
Oh, well,
we still don't have a song for you or a jingle.
We covered a bunch of it, so let's see.
We didn't Death Stranding.
No. Well, okay. Do you want to do it?
No, go right ahead. I'm just helping you along here.
Yes. So Death Stranding got popped up because a lot of people noticed that the website and the cover art that came out for it no longer says PlayStation exclusive. So a lot of people are speculating that it's getting a computer release. Some people are really reaching, saying maybe also Xbox. People actually don't know. But it used to say PlayStation exclusive. It no longer does now. So a lot of people think that...
Is that a branding thing, or are they just,
yeah.
I guess?
No, so like with Last of Us.
Right.
Like it says PlayStation exclusive on it. Like you can only play it on PlayStation. They do that with any game that's like that. They only would remove it if it was going to be on multiple consoles.
So was it going to be an exclusive to PlayStation or to...
Originally, yes.
Okay, so if it goes to Microsoft, and we all know what that's been like lately with Xbox. Xbox is console and PC now. They're completely the same. So it's a possibility.
I mean, that's a little different. So with the Microsoft Studios, they're making sure all their games are on Xbox and PC. If this goes multi-console, it'll just be whatever Hideo Kojima, the producer, wherever he decides to put it. So if they port it to PC, great. If they decide to port it to Xbox, it's not going to see a Nintendo release. That game looks too good for Switch.
Yeah.
And I love my Switch, but that thing cannot play that game. So, yeah, that's the news on that. Another thing, actually, with Nintendo, it's not even in the show notes, so surprise for you guys, too.
Okay. Next.
A patent was filed with the FCC, I think, the FCC?
Yeah, it's the FCC.
For...
Won't let me be.
No.
FCC.
For designs of wireless Super Nintendo controllers for the Switch.
Oh,
so,
that's pretty cool. Attack of the Gnats.
It attacked me. You saw it. It bit me.
Yeah.
So the Nintendo Switch Online service offers NES games not on demand, I guess. So like you pay for Nintendo Online right now and you get like 40 NES games or whatever the count is up to. They add a couple every month.
That's
and
cool.
you can just play them as part of like you pay the online service, you get these games. So now with the controllers being patent being filed on the controllers, some data mining kind of suggested that Super Nintendo games are now going to be coming to the online service. So part of Nintendo Online would also be a bunch of Super Nintendo games that would just be thrown in with it. So
No, that's cool.
It's exciting because the Switch has no virtual console, which was massive on the Wii. Like that was the best thing. It was like, do you these old games you grew up with and love? $5 a game, you can play them again.
That's pretty cool. And I like that about the minis whenever they were doing all that. But
yeah, but it's currently on the Switch, which is a portable hybrid console. It would make sense, like you'd sell all the games to everyone again, make some money, and Nintendo's just not doing it. I don't get it.
I mean, you see what they're doing. They're giving you they're trying to go after everybody and take their channels down for the music. So
yeah,
they're busy with that right now.
Yeah, I don't know. They're a weird company sometimes.
Yes. You have anything else for gaming news, Dave?
Well, the last thing involves you, which is 704 Games.
Yeah, I'm going to 704 Games tomorrow, and you're actually tagging along because I'm shooting a vlog. Need a cameraman, and Dave is a game developer. Like he's into that stuff. I think he's going to really enjoy the trip.
I honestly, because I've done this trip with Jeff twice with 704, and even not being a game developer, it blew my mind. And I don't play racing games. Dave actually plays racing games and does a lot of back end work with gaming. So I think he's gonna poop his pants as fucking Nat.
No, he's an ass.
I think it's gonna blow your mind. You're gonna love it. I'm so excited for you to go.
Yeah, and I'm not going to Charlotte this year. I usually go to Charlotte up at their headquarters. They have an Orlando office down here now, which is like a half-hour drive away from here, and it's wonderful. Like I don't have to go to Charlotte, don't have to fly, and then get up early in the morning and record and stuff. But I am going there at like 1 p.m. We're gonna shoot a vlog that day, and you signed an NDA. I signed NDAs. We can't film certain things.
Can't talk about it.
Yeah, because we might see things of them working on the next game or something. But God, I hate these Nats. They're just all ruining our lives today.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm gonna go up there. I'm gonna record, and then I'm supposed to be able to release first footage around the first week of September, maybe towards the end of the first week of September.
Nice.
Not 100% sure, but before the game releases, I'm super stoked for it. This year they've like really went and said we're going to rebuild the game instead of adding on new stuff. And some people were upset about that. They're like, well, they need to work on this or this or this. It's like, no, they were like, we need to work on physics and sound and make this game like much better.
And that's the thing. Like when a lot of people like, that's not how game development is done. You don't take the old game and add to it. Like that's how you end up with a game that's how you end up with what Fallout's doing.
I don't know how they did. They moved over to the new Unity engine within a year. And NASCAR was like, oh, by the way, here's the new rules package, which changes everything. So they're just like, that's what it's like to make a NASCAR game. You get NASCAR every year changing their rules and all this stuff, and people expect it in the game. And they're like, well, we got to do this, and we have 1 year to make a game, so let's do it, guys.
Yep.
So I think they're doing it right. They're getting, better connections with people in the gaming industry, and they're rising up through the ashes of not having a decent NASCAR game for a long time. So I'm excited to play it, like really excited to play it. And I know I get a lot of criticism about not playing it regularly on the channel, but I told 704 Games that I was like, the reason why is this, the game is not to that level to where I can play it on a consistent basis. I honestly believe that this will be the first one that will, because the sounds, the graphics, everything it's going to be very engaging for people, and people that don't even like NASCAR are going to learn a little bit about it. I've had people say, I don't know anything about NASCAR, but man, this is fun to watch. And that happens to a lot of people. And then they start like Ryan, Civ Ryan, he's like, man, when he got into iRacing, he's like, I want to watch NASCAR. I like this. I'm like, well, you get it now. It's not just cars driving in circles. He's like, I was one of those dudes that thought they were just driving in circles. Like way more to that and way to it than that. And what's really cool, what I personally like about NASCAR is that you have every team competing at one time instead of, like traditionally you have two teams.
We should do that with all sports. Football.
Just everybody
hockey,
on the same team.
Throw all of them out on the field. Like it all.
Battle Royale.
Yep.
Fortnite. Fortnite on ice.
Fortnite football.
No.
Just drop them in from a flying school bus.
I mean, I would definitely probably be way more excited about sports if that were the way it was run, but
Yeah.
Well, I mean, the abstract ones like what? Lingerie football. They don't.
Oh no!
They don't do much.
What is that
that's a
one?
thing.
Yeah, it's a thing, but it's not like so mainstream where people are like, "Oh, I can't wait to watch that."
What? I worked with people who that was the
all they
highlight
did.
of their year.
Yeah. Well, with going back to NASCAR, like watching last night at Bristol, they had a sold out. Like it looked like a sold out crowd, which is great. You don't see that very often anymore because people think that NASCAR's dead. They're like, NASCAR's dead. It's like, well, it's not. It's not what it used to be for sure. And I think we're just seeing a shift of older fans that are just like, I don't get these new cars, and they move on with their lives. And we have the new fans. That's what's so important about having a game like NASCAR Heat to really perform and be a good game, solid game with physics and sound and all this. You want to draw on that new crowd and get more people excited about it.
The space to compete for eye time is so much higher than it used to be, because like if you think about it, way back before really internet and YouTube, like going to the races was a big deal, where now like there's a billion other things you can watch. So yeah, like having a solid game will really bring in a different audience.
Yeah. One of the last things I did want to touch on was jury duty. We can talk a little bit about that and my experience with it. I can talk about it because I'm not selected for the trial.
Yay.
How did we not open with that?
I don't know.
I was just going to wait till the end because maybe it's boring. I don't know. But it was a 10-hour process. At first, I didn't get through the first 2 pools of 30. Then I was like, man, maybe I'm not going to be pooled. You just still have to sit in this room and, wait to see if you're called. And I finally got selected and then I was in a pool of 50 people. And then they move you up to they move you up to like we were on the 9th floor where the courthouse was. Like, oh, it'll just be a few minutes. It was like a half an hour, 45 minutes of waiting to get in. Then you go in and you sit in the benches. I got lucky. I got a nice cushiony chair. And people are like, oh, you got one of the cushion chairs because at the end didn't have enough room. I got lucky on that. But besides the point, it was cool to sit in an actual courtroom. I've never been in a courtroom before. And basically you get kind of cross-examined by the prosecution and the defense attorney. The case was a case of it was assault with a deadly weapon. And what's interesting is that through all this time that I've been, I've got friends in LEO, like close friends in LEO. I've played so many LEO games. I RP as a police officer. I watched live PD. I learned through this process out of anything that, I'm biased towards LEO because they made a question that I was like, I had to answer honestly because you're under oath. You have to answer honestly. And it was, if a police officer and law enforcement officers up there telling you their side of the story, or they say like, they gave an example. If they saw a guy drive through a red light and he said it was green, they're like, who are you going to believe? And I was like, well, I would believe the law enforcement officer because he probably has enough experience to know that was, because he does it every single day. And I realized that like that small bias is so monumentally like destructive in the process of selecting a jury. I get that. Like, and it's subconscious. And I even said that. I said, subconsciously, I think that would happen. I would see a law enforcement up there giving his testimony, and I would go, yeah. But also, on the other side of my head, I go, well, I've seen Making a Murderer, and I've seen what Manitowoc County's doing, so I'm not really sure. But subconsciously, I think I would believe a police officer over, somebody else. And you can't have that in the justice system at all. Nope.
Right.
But it was interesting to go through that. And the prosecution was just so long and drawn out. And then the defense attorney's like just sitting there falling asleep, nodding, getting upset, and like objection and all that. And then when he just like he was shot out of a cannon. It's like, what did you do? And just going crazy the whole time. And everyone's like, oh, we're awake now. But it was so interesting to go through that process and see it because. And they're like, oh, by the way, they go, this is jury duty. So if you're selected for a trial, that's a separate thing. You're serving. But serving jury duty is just going down there and doing that. So, but you said you would be excited to do it.
Yeah, I think I honestly think I would be a great juror.
I think so.
I think if I showed up and said that, they'd be like, get the fuck out.
Yeah. They'd be like, what do you think of Manitowoc County right now? You'd be like, well, maybe something's going on up there.
But I think I'm pretty unbiased. Like I also have law enforcement friends, and I also have seen the justice system fail. Yes. So I don't know. I think that I can sit and be unbiased and listen to both sides and then make a judgment based on that.
Yeah, out of everything that whenever they were asking questions, that's the only thing I did. And I had to be honest about that. It's like, yeah, I would initially think that. But I said if I was serving on the jury, I would go off of the evidence that was at hand. Because that's what it's all about, beyond a reasonable doubt. So that was really, really cool and interesting to go through. I'm glad I wasn't selected on the trial. I mean, I wanted to kind of do it to see what it was like, but on the other side of the coin is that, wow, talk about adults having every problem known to man. I mean, I just threw my back out. I can't serve. Everybody had so many bullshit stories. And when I first got in there, I was like, wow, this is ridiculous. We're adults, and you guys are like, I got to pick up my little brother's cousin, blah, blah, blah. There's just nonsense spread. My mom has surgery tomorrow and I have to be there. And the judge is like, is it like a life-threatening issue? And they're like, no, but I have to be there. And the judge would go, we're going to take a break, call people and see. And then they'd be like, did you call them? They go, yeah, I still can't get a hold of anybody. And the whole time I'm like, man, I need to be on this fucking jury because no one wants to do it. And they're going to just, do anything they can to get out of it. And I was like, I don't have any reason to not serve.
Well, that's what I was trying to tell you when you were like so bummed about having it. I was like, yeah, but they need people like you, because I remember when you were going through the process, you were like, man, they treat you like you're stupid. Like it's so condescending. Yeah. And I was like, no, they treat you at the lowest level because there are some real fucking idiots out there. Yes. So they have to talk to you like you, like, break this down like I'm a 10-year-old, because some people, they are not high functioning. It was crazy because they go, this is a assault with a deadly weapon case. And they're like, is there anything that, they had said, raise your placard if there's anything that, would. There was somebody who brought up something that happened, I shit you not, 35 years ago, and that they saw somebody pull a gun on somebody 35 years ago, and they thought that pertained to the reason why they can't be part of this. And then another lady was like, I don't believe in guns. And then there was like, they started a whole back and forth of gun law going on. And there was one about one of the prosecutor. He was smart about it, but he brought up the cannabis laws. And he was like, even if you think the cannabis laws are you don't agree with them, and say like, this happened in this state, but in this state, it's a felony. You have to go off the evidence. It is without a reasonable doubt. This is cannabis. Would you put that person away? Like, would you give them their charge as a jury member? Would you make a verdict based off of that? And I'd say 3/4 of the entire jury selection pool of 50 people were just like, no. They're just like, no, I can't do this. They're like, it's stupid. And then they were all getting into like personal bickering about the cannabis laws. And the judge is like, whoa. And the judge was awesome. He was a really, really nice guy. And I felt that that will be a fair trial. And the jurors that they selected, I get why they did. But the ones they selected literally said nothing. They just kind of were just like, no, there's no reason why I shouldn't be on. And the one dude that was next to me was so gung-ho. He's like, it'll be an honor to serve. I'm serving. I want to do this. Because there are citizens that want to do it. They're like, I want to get selected for jury duty. I have nothing to do. I'm retired. So it was ridiculous to see adults act like children about trying to get out of their homework. But it was an interesting experience, and I'm glad it happened. But I'm happy I didn't have to go to trial, because the trial would have lasted 2 days, I think. Oof. Yeah, almost 3. So that was jury duty in a nutshell. It was fun. Yeah, you did good. Thank you for serving your American duty.
Serving your country.
Yep.
You're very welcome.
Well, after you got home, it was a lot. You were gone all day, and you got home, and we were like, okay, let's all go out to dinner and like talk about this.
Yeah.
We're sitting at a Chili's.
Yeah.
Having a couple beers and just going on, and my ass will get political only with Dave and Jeff, yes, because they know me and I'm comfortable talking about that stuff with them. So I'm just going on. The jury duty turned into how the justice system is failing, which turned into politics. And I'm just going on. And this old man at the bar, him and his wife, he just keeps looking back at me and like laughing and like, this dumb bitch.
Well, you had Trump 2020 hat wearers and stuff around.
That's what I wanted to say. Because this is where that conversation led to.
Yeah.
How I love our generation so much, because we're like a super bridge between all the changes that are happening from our parents' generation to like these teenagers now who like know nothing but social media. Every single fucking one of them wants to be famous in some way. That's all everybody wants to do is, how do I be famous? How do I?
Dave.
So we have like this generation who is strange, and I'm still trying to figure them out, and our parents. And we're kind of like that. We're like the 30-year-old, like in the middle, like
the
bridging them. And I think that's really awesome. Like that we get to understand both sides and help bring in change. I'm super excited for that. I just think that our generation's the best, and that's all I have to say. That's all. That's all from me.
Okay. I don't know.
You don't know?
No. I don't have any change. I don't use cash.
Oh God.
Oh God, here we go.
But
yeah, so We did go out recently because Josh W from OCRP, he came into town, and we hung out with them a couple nights, and that was fun. We went to back downtown Orlando. We got to the point where we know exactly where we go in Orlando, and that's it.
When people are visiting, it's like we have like spots.
Yes,
like guaranteed. Someone's in town. All right, we're going here.
Going to Yard House. It's one of my
Gotta
favorite
get a yard
places
of
down here.
Their food is so good, though.
It is really good. I like it, and I like Uncle Julio's too. And which is so strange. Those are chains, and they're actually really, really, really good.
Yeah, Uncle Julio's is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Last time I got a kiwi margarita. I didn't even know you could make a margarita from kiwi, but it's so good. It's like a candy shop of margaritas. They got every flavor, and it's
Yes.
amazing.
We stayed in Clearwater Beach. That was beautiful. Did you talk about that last time? Maybe a little bit.
I don't remember.
But we stayed in Clearwater Beach, and we're looking in the Tampa area where we want to live. Clearwater Beach is awesome, but everybody's like, "Ooh, watch out, the Scientologists are taking over down there," and they said they're trying to buy Clearwater Beach and make it a private
Really?
place. Yes. I'm like, that's okay. First of all, even if that did happen, you have so many hotels and just so much tourism down there. That's not going to happen.
No, there's no way those.
So they wouldn't make it a private beach. They would buy it and just own it.
Okay, and then push their agendas and everything
Yeah,
else.
like why would they shut it down? They're all about money.
They want to make it exclusive, I guess. I
I mean,
don't know.
the Church of Scientology owns more real estate.
Yeah.
I think it's between them and McDonald's and Walmart for most real estate owned.
Really?
Yeah.
Now I kind of want to do some digging into like the Church of Scientology. Why?
There's a lot of interesting
What are they
stuff with
doing?
that whole group.
I want to know.
The Epsilon program in GTA 5 is
You
Scientology.
pay to eventually get to a level of clear where you're then told the enlightening information of Lord Xenu or whatever it is. But no,
Lord
you
Xenu.
no that
Xenon the sequel.
no Lord Xenu.
Okay.
Look it up.
I don't know. I'd rather
that's
live
the
in a
thing.
city full of Scientologists. than-
Actually, South Park explained it very, very well.
I know they do the same thing. Okay,
Mormons,
South Park. Yes, they had an episode on Scientology, and I was like, surely this can't be real. But then I watched their episode on Mormons, and I grew up Mormon, so I'm like,
Yeah.
this is weirdly accurate. Like, this
Dum dum
is
dum 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 dum
The-
dum.
dum 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 dum.
The Scientology one, someone took the South Park clip and then a actual interview of L. Ron Hubbard, who created
Yeah.
Scientology, and they mirrored it together like they were spot on in that episode. So it's ridiculous, but it's real. And when I say you pay to be a member of literally you fork over, it's hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Oof.
And that's,
Yeah, and Leah Remini, she's done that show.
I watched her thing
Yeah.
after she left the Church of Scientology. I watched
Yeah.
that. That was interesting.
It's pretty crazy. But I mean, to put everybody's minds at ease, we're not moving to Tampa to become Scientologists.
Maybe.
well, I mean,
I don't know. We don't know. I don't know. I might.
I heard they
wanna know a
provide
little
free
something.
lunches on the weekend.
I just want to worship Xenon.
Xenu.
Zetus Lapidus.
Oh my lord!
I'm gonna. no.
Only a certain age range is going to even know what that means.
That's probably true. That's probably true.
Well, let's go. Let's go become Scientologists, and we'll share our experience with you guys.
Yes. That would be nice.
I told my mom I'm starting my own church down here. I was like, I'm sick of this. I'm starting
Take me to
starting a cult.
church.
I already have. It's just you guys, Benny and Apollo. You're my members.
Yes.
Worship me and give me
That'd
your
be
money.
fine. That would be fine. Well, folks, thank you so much for joining us on this Sunday afternoon instead of a Monday. We will not be around tomorrow. We will be in at 7:04 games. But thank you guys so much. We'll see you all on Monday next week.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
I don't wanna waste what's left. The storms we chase are leading us, and love is all we'll ever trust. Yeah, no, I don't wanna waste what's left. And on we'll go through the wastelands, through the highways, till my shadow turns to sun rays. And on we'll watch the sun